Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the Zydus Wellness Limited post-results Q&A session with analysts and investors. If a participant is connected on both the webcast and the audio bridge, you are requested to mute the audio from the webcast to avoid echo. To ask a question, participants are requested to click on the link for instructions to dial into the audio call. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Tarun Arora, CEO, Zydus Wellness Limited. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Good afternoon and welcome to the post-results teleconference of Zydus Wellness Limited for Q1 financial year 2021-22. We have with us Dr. Sharvil Patel, Chairman, Mr. Ganesh Nayak, Director, Mr. Nitin Parekh, Group CFO, Mr. Umesh Parekh, Zydus Wellness CFO, Mr. Vishal Gaur, Senior Vice President, Corporate Finance at Cadila Healthcare Limited. At the onset of the first quarter of the financial year 2021-22, we witnessed a strong momentum getting built up with good traction for our summer season brands, Glucon-D and Nycil, during the first half of the month of April 21. But unfortunately, for the second consecutive year, our business and specifically our summer brands got impacted due to COVID-19 second wave, followed by Cyclone Yas and Taukte and onset of early monsoon. Even though we were ready to deal with the crisis at operations and logistics level, the country saw lockdowns and restrictions across urban and rural geographies, leading to weak consumer sentiments and demand disruptions. However, with receding impact of second wave and gradual opening up of markets, we see good traction on our brands, followed by demand revival across channels. Despite COVID-induced setbacks, we posted total income from operations growth of 11.2% on year-on-year basis. Continuing commodity inflation, in particular of refined palm oil, has put pressure on our gross margin, which were down by 87 basis points as percentage of net sales compared to previous year's comparable quarter. Going forward, we see some softening of refined palm oil prices in the second quarter. Let me take you through the highlights of the consolidated financial performance of Q1 financial year 2021-22. During the first quarter of financial year 2021-22, our total income from operations grew by 11.2% to 5976 million rupees. That includes one-time GST budgetary support of 52.2 million rupees. EBITDA was up by 14.8% year-on-year to 1,404 million rupees. PBT before exceptional items was up by 57.3% year-on-year to 1,308 million rupees. Net profit was up by 46.6% year-on-year at 1,308 million rupees. With that, let me share some of the highlights of operations for the quarter gone by. We continued our thrust on marketing initiatives to grow the categories and increase market share of our brands during the quarter. To narrate a few, on the Glucon-D front, the quarter gone by started on a strong note for the brand. However, due to lockdowns starting from mid-April and adverse weather conditions in key states, the brand sales got impacted again during its peak summer time. Glucon-D ImmunoVolt continued to deliver steady business. On the Complan front, on the back of new communication of the brand promoting 2x faster growth proposition, which was aired on TV across all India, the brand delivered a good double-digit growth sales during the quarter. We also continue to invest behind the brand through customized consumer offers on select SKUs in top markets. On sweeteners front, the brand continued its good momentum for the quarter and delivered a decent growth over a huge base of last year comparable quarter. We continued with our investments on mainline media as well as on digital. To drive the brand adoption of Sugar Free, a massive influencer program hashtag I'm Sugar Free was activated on Instagram and more than 100 influencers advocating the brand. On the Nycil front, the brand witnessed a degrowth during the quarter gone by as we missed the season sales induced by second wave lockdowns and curbs. We hope to see some recovery in the second quarter. Nycil Soothing Body Mist was launched in April 21 and was supported by TV and digital media campaigns. However, the launch got impacted due to second wave of COVID-19. On the Everyuth front, the brand continued to grow in strong double digits, though on a lower base of previous year comparable quarter, with ATL campaigns on flagship scrub portfolio and digital inputs on the entire range. On the Nutralite front, the brand delivered strong growth both in institutional and retail business during the quarter despite lockdown in key markets. Nutralite Mayo business also continued its strong performance. Nutralite Choco Spread, which is currently available in modern trade and e-commerce channel, faced slowdown because of the closure of some of the modern trade outlets due to lockdown. As per the MAT June 21 report of Nielsen, Glucon-D has maintained its number one position with a market share of 58.2% in the glucose powder category. Complan has a market share of 5.5% in the MFD category. Nycil has maintained its number one position with a market share of 35.2% in the prickly heat powder category, which is an increase of 161 basis points over the same period last year. Everyuth Scrub has maintained its number one position with a market share of 36.9% in the facial scrub category, which is an increase of 289 basis points over the same period last year. Everyuth Peel Off has maintained its number one position with a market share of 77.6% in the peel off category. Everyuth brand has achieved a market share of 6.3% at the overall facial cleansing segment level. We have started on the next phase of transformation journey post-integration, which could also be referred as Transformation 2.0. We intend to become leaner and more efficient through business projects, including disintermediation and digitization of our processes across the value chain. We have initiated a number of projects from sales, supply chain to people function that could help us become more agile, riding on the digital wave of working. As we progress towards the next quarter with COVID-related curbs and restrictions being lifted, we see positive consumer sentiments and return of normalcy for our business. We remain optimistic about the growth of our business and brands going forward. Thank you, and we will now start the Q&A session. Over to the coordinator for the Q&A.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. To ask a question, participants are requested to click on the link for instructions to dial into the audio call. If a participant is connected on both the webcast and the audio bridge, you are requested to mute the audio from the webcast to avoid echo. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. To ask a question, you may enter star and 1. We have the first question from the line of Alok Shah. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Thank you for giving me an opportunity. Tarun, can you share some granular information with respect to this Transformation 2.0 journey and any operational and financial targets that you would have set out for, say, FY 23-24? Something on those lines, if you can please disclose. Thank you.
Yeah, we have operational and financial targets as well. We are expecting this to give us more than 10 crores of saving in the next financial year, because this year is the working part and it will happen over next couple of quarters, and excess of that amount would come through in terms of cost savings or cash release, which can happen on 2 or 3 accounts. One, like I talked about, disintermediation, which itself is which will lead to direct servicing of some of the modern trade chains, which was our intended project, and we intend to take E-commerce we service directly. Modern trade, we want to take it to a 80% level where all the large accounts are serviced directly, and therefore there will be a improved realization by servicing them directly. We also see business enhancement in terms of getting better coordination with these accounts. The other benefit that I see is cash release. Like I mentioned, we have the project which is implementation of IBP from SAP, the Integrated Business Planning, which is a planning and demand forecasting tool, which we are working which we are implementing, that will digitize the entire supply planning piece and move into continuous replenishment mode, which should reduce our stock levels as we envisage and therefore have a cash release. There are other projects also which include projects related to freight management, and in future some automation of manufacturing processes. Some of the processes we have already implemented, which are related to sales IT.
Got it. So this would also mean some kind of a portfolio of better breadth into modern trade e-commerce. So anything that you are sensing from the top line perspective also?
So like I mentioned, the first part which I talked about, disintermediation, relatively small on our scale, but still a valuable one, where it will lead to higher realization from on the portfolio which gets serviced directly, because the margins go away, which are only a buffer in the system. And also, when we work closely with them, we could also improve our service levels and higher availability. Some of those numbers we are putting together, but we are not putting as a target for our business delivery.
Sure. My second question was on the internal guidance with respect to some of the launches extension. So would you be sharing something, because as we see, the brand always have a lot of potential in terms of extensions, like how this quarter you did Nycil Body Mist. So are you gunning for, say, one new launch in a brand per quarter or something of that sort is on the anvil?
You could say that practically that's really what is working. Last financial year has seen a large number of launches. From our perspective, it is very important to see some of these launches taken to the next level. So we have new launches in the pipeline, and some of them you will see in the coming quarter as well. But my biggest priority will be to also ensure that the launches which are on the already in the marketplace, they are taken to the next level. We've seen good success of when we persist with a launch and we keep building it, even if initially there are challenges. A good example is Sugarlite, which is in the third year of launch. In every year it has doubled. There is importance in persisting with what we have. So I would say a substantial portion of our effort will go in ensuring our existing launches go up. But we do have a couple of big launches in next 2 quarters as we move forward.
Got it. And I just have a very small third question, if I may squeeze in. I was just doing some calculation as to what could be the potential lost sales because Glucon-D and Nycil could not be sold throughout the quarter. Would that be anywhere? I mean, I'm not asking for an nearby estimate, but if you can just say that according to my estimate, it's more like 120 crore. Would it be far less than that, more than that? Any ballpark that if you can share?
It's hard for me to comment, but it's not less than that.
Okay. That's it. Thank you very much, and best of luck for the future quarters. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, to ask a question, you may enter star and 1. We have the next question from the line of Tejas Shah from Spark Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, thanks for the opportunity. Just first wanted to start with your general observation on demand uptake or demand scenario post the second wave.
Hello. So at an overall level, we've seen especially the non-seasonal brands are showing good resilience in demand. So Sugar Free continues on its momentum, and at a 2-year CAGR level, both Sugar Free and Complan are showing consistent growth at a decent levels. So therefore, that gives us a belief that the demand is for essential products is safe and building up. We've also seen in the wave 2, the quarter gone by, much faster recovery on numbers on Everyuth and Nutralite, because it took much longer recovery last year. So the resilience and recovery of demand has been far better on these brands. And I mean, on just 1 year basis, Everyuth has seen some phenomenal growths, but the base was much lower. So for us, the concern has largely been related to the seasonal impact, if I were to say. Otherwise, we are fairly positive, and the overall way demand is building up. And it is broad-based. E-commerce is building up. Montrade is also coming back in reasonable terms. Horeca has seen faster recovery this year versus last year.
Fair enough. And Tarun, you spoke about Complan market share. Last year, 1Q, we started sharing market share from 2Q. So just wanted to understand the trajectory there of market share, A, and B, are we gaining market share disproportionately or higher in a particular channel versus competition, or in a particular geography versus competition? If you can comment on that part as well.
Yeah, I'll just try and give you a broad outline of how market share for Complan has evolved. So we've had this brand for about 2.5 years. The first 6 to 8 months, we had seen a substantial drop. After that, our market share has stabilized at closer to 5.5, and despite our expectation, the numbers are similar level. My personal view is that the market shares are, our internal growths reflect a slightly better number, but third-party numbers hold us at a similar level as 5.5. Sooner or later, it'll catch up because our distribution levels are also at 4-year high. So we've touched 5.72 lakhs as reported by Nielsen. When we got the business, it was close to 4.2, 4.3 lakh. So distribution has gone up. We are seeing resilience. Our internal growth numbers exceed what Nielsen reports. Therefore, we are, if you ask me, quite optimistic on the way Complan is building up and is responding to our initiatives. But from just pure market share point of view, it is stable at 5.5 at an annualized MAT level.
But Tarun, he was asking about different channels also in terms of
Yeah,
disproportionate
sure.
share.
So we've seen, I can add. So we've seen Nielsen doesn't capture it. Even e-commerce has been very, very responsive to Complan, and some of the platforms we've seen a substantial pickup of our shares on Complan. We've also seen that couple of states, especially UP, Bihar, have responded to and seen increase of market share for Complan. We were under pressure in Tamil Nadu, but for last 6 to 8 months, we are seeing that recovery as well. So that whole thing also needs to catch up into a overall share improvement. But we are seeing 2 geographies which are responding well. Some of the emerging channels responding well without losing momentum around the base channels of Montrade and GT.
And I think in e-commerce we have a higher disproportionate share.
Yeah.
MT. Yeah.
Sorry, I missed Dr. Sharvil's comment. Hello.
Dr. Sharvil, if you could repeat, because I think it got missed.
No, what I said is in modern trade, obviously we had a higher share, a bit modern on Complan versus our overall share. And I think we're seeing good trajectory on e-commerce also.
Yeah.
And just staying with Complan and Dr. Sharvil's, one of the earlier comments he made in one of the earlier calls, he said we were planning to actually leverage on advocacy platform through our pharma connections and pharma relationships. So any update on that to expedite Complan's journey there?
So the product did get launched, Complan NutriGrow, which is currently launched through our large pediatric division. So it's tracking well. It's obviously for the last 3 to 4 months, new product successes have been difficult because of non-availability of meeting doctors and all. But if you look from June onwards, there is a good significant uptrend, and on the prescriptions also. So I think in a way, I would say we are delayed by almost 9 months because the whole lockdown made it very difficult to get new product prescriptions. But you can, at least from the last 2 months and trending forward, I think we are on a good track to now really start doing what we needed to do, which was last year. But now we'll get to see it in this year, the ramp up.
Great. And last one, if I may squeeze in. Our gross margin tracked well despite all the margin pressure that we are seeing in the system level or macro level also. So any interventions we made in terms of pricing, price hikes, or this was product mix beneficiary also margins this time?
So we have taken about a little higher than 2% price increase on our portfolio effectively for the last quarter. That will reflect. We are also running several cost reduction programs across our products. So some of which may not have fully come in, but because we do acknowledge that this commodity cycle may have a longer inflationary trend, so these projects are extremely crucial for us to build on. So some action or intervention from a price perspective, and some projects which we are working on to reduce costs on a prolonged basis.
And I think if I can generally talk about the overall gross margin side, I think we have two products. One is Complan and the other is Nutralite, where we have some challenges. Complan is manageable, and I think we can continue to do better on that. But on Nutralite, once we have a portfolio which is more balanced and not completely oil based, but have more products which are in the ghee, butter, and also some new segments that we're trying to build, I think that overall portfolio will have a lesser impact on the oil pricing that is there today. So it's not something that will happen in the short term, but in terms of 3 to 4 years, we can see that the whole Nutralite portfolio becoming far more attractive in terms of its net margin profile, which currently is struggling because obviously it has high dependence on oil.
That's all from my side, and all the best for future quarters. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, to ask a question, you may enter star and 1. We have the next question from the line of Kaustubh Pawaskar from Sharekhan. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Good afternoon, sir. Thanks for giving me the opportunity. So my question is again on the raw material inflation. So for this quarter, how much was the raw material inflation for us? So we have taken 2% price increase, and we are also, focusing on cost saving initiatives or efficiencies to mitigate the impact. But in terms of inflation, how much was the inflation?
Umesh, you want to take this?
For except for RPO, we have been able to neutralize the inflation for all of the products. RPO, we have seen a bit of a good amount of inflation, and we have taken some price increase, but it is not fully adequate to absorb the full price increase of the raw material prices.
So RPO over a period of last 3 to 4 years has gone up more than 90%. So I think that is an unsustainable level. But once we have the product mix better, we can see, and the cooling off on that, we can see some improvement. But as Umesh said, rest of the things we have been able to balance.
Yeah. On Complan also, we have accumulated SMP when the milk prices were low. So we have been able to manage the price increase of milk as well. RPO is the only commodity where there is a substantial price increase of 90% in the commodity.
Okay. Got your point. And my second question is on our international business. In the press release, you have mentioned that international business is performing well for you, and it has grown in strong double digits. So what is the current contribution, and if you could throw some more highlight on the international front?
So our international business on an annualized level is close to about 3.1%, and it is growing. If I were to look at trailing 4 quarters, it is doubling itself every year. The major markets, top 7-8 markets, contribute to more than 80% of our business, which includes markets like Nigeria, Nepal, GCC, Bangladesh. And the two key products that we sell in these markets is Complan and sugar-free, including sugar-free extensions. Of course, we are building the other parts of the portfolio, but these two take the most of the share and are usually present in most markets that we operate, with few exceptions. And we're quite positive about building it forward.
And so one clarification. So you mentioned about some one-off in the revenues. Could you just explain that?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So one-off in the revenue is one-time GST budgetary support of 5.5 crore, which was received in the Q1, and that is reflected in the other operating income.
Okay. Fine. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Participants, if you have a question, you may enter star and 1. We have the next question from the line of Pritesh Chheda from Lucky Investments. Please go ahead.
So what would be a 2-year CAGR on Complan and sugar-free? I missed if you would have mentioned it initially.
So both are in good growth levels from a 2-year CAGR, closer to double digits, or actually
Okay.
double digits.
Okay. My second question is on Complan. We were on the distribution expansion side, especially on the general trade. What is the progress there? Because that's also one of the legs for growth, and the progress on variant launches. Because competition seems to have much more variants versus what we have.
Sorry, I didn't understand. First part, general trade, what?
Distribution expansion in general trade for Complan.
Okay. So at an overall direct distribution level, we have crossed 500,000 outlets, which was our plan. We've actually exceeded that by 10%, which started in July when we had post-integration reached about 3.3 lakh outlets. We have now crossed about 5.5 lakh outlets. So that's from our direct distribution. And if we really look at Complan in specific, which will not just be a benchmark from our internal direct distribution, but availability as measured by Nielsen. There, when we got the business 2.5 years back, it was a little over 4 lakh, about 4.2 or 4.3 lakh outlets. We have already exceeded that number of last 4 years, which is 5.7 lakh outlets. And hence, we are better equipped to take on competition from general trade perspective or point of view as well.
This 5.7 is total distribution for us, because I think our total distribution is 2 million, right? Or this is 5.7 for Complan?
Complan. I thought you were asking only on Complan. So overall direct is 500,000. Total will be 2 million availability, and specifically getting onto Complan 5.72 as reported by Nielsen availability.
And where are we on the variants launches?
We had launched last year variants on Complan, relaunched it Complan NutriGro, which is focused on toddler segment, which is based on a superior nutrition and a better protein formula, which we are promoting through the expert healthcare professionals.
And on the sachets?
So sachets we launched last year. We launched 2 sachets. One is 18 gram at 5 rupees, focused on south and east part of the country, and 75 gram at 30 rupees, focused in north and west part of the country, as the markets are structured for the sachets. And we are seeing good traction of sachets. They're meeting all the milestones that we have set for them. So we are quite satisfied with the expansion of sachet business.
So can we see some market share expansion in Complan in the current year?
Yeah, that's what we are hoping to see. It's also a disrupted year, so it's not just our problem, but also Nielsen also has been picking up data, and I will go with just what they report rather than my point of view. But I hope to really see some expansion of market share for us in this year itself.
Okay. And on our 5-year 3,000 crore revenue aspiration that we have and the margin expansion side, if you could give some color or some milestones or processes update there.
So the growth rate that we've envisaged, we've really missed some part of it in 2020 and 21. I mean, 2 financial years if you were to look at our calendar years. So we missed some numbers, but we are hopeful that if we don't see the kind of extreme disruptions that we have seen in the last 2 summers, we could be back on growth trajectory and also see coming closer to the numbers that we have envisaged for 5 years. On the margin side, we continue to drive, despite the top line challenges, continue to drive very hard on the cost side. So as the volumes catch up, I think you will see the operating leverage delivering superior EBITDA margins in the years to come. 2023 is
target on the margin.
So we had said 2023 will cross the 20%. If we're lucky, maybe earlier, but 2023 for sure we should cross 20% margin at EBITDA level.
Okay. Lastly, on the debt on the book and the interest cost, do we see a case where the interest cost will not be there as we progress towards the end of the year?
Umesh?
Yeah, sure. So last year we repurchased our NCDs to the extent of 1,500 crore, and that has brought down our debt level to only 565 crore gross debt level. That was further reduced by again about 130 crore. So current debt level is just about 435 crore, and net debt level is about 225 crore. So we'll be able to further reduce it, and maybe in 1.5 years' time, you will see that there will be hardly any interest cost.
We reduced it by further 130 crore and gross debt is 440.
Yeah.
And net debt is 250.
250. 225, 250, yeah.
Okay. And this debt is at what cost, sir?
It is at 5.01%, 5%.
5%, so 450 into 0.05. It's about 22 divided by 4. About 5.6. What we are reporting is about plus 8 crores in the quarterly.
Yeah, that's primary sector lending. What I have talked about is the long-term debt. That's primary sector lending for working capital. That will just go up towards the end of the year.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir, and all the best. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So 1 minute.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Just a minute. Yeah. So what should be our, so keeping FY22 aside, but let's say Nycil and Glucon-D, what do you think should be the growth rates in these 2 brands?
Growth rate for 2022, right? For the current financial year?
Just keeping 22 aside. 22 aside in a normal year, what is the...
Yeah, we are quite focused on our double-digit growths on both these brands, and we have enough initiatives, and there is room for growing both these categories, we being the leaders. And I think we see good recovery on these numbers as soon as things get normal. So it's good to expect a double-digit growth on both these brands. And Nycil, I'm particularly still very optimistic about to get these, and so can Glucon-D. So.
And any other launches apart from the dark chocolate that you would have done in the last, what I heard was dark chocolates, but anything other than that we have launched?
We've launched 11 products in last financial year, and which includes on Everyuth we launched aloe vera, on Nutralite we launched chocolate spread and Nutralite Doodh Shakti butter spread with probiotics, Nutralite Doodh Shakti ghee. On Complan we launched sachets. On Glucon-D we launched tablets with immunity benefit, Immunovolts. Nycil we launched sanitizers, and later on we also tested wipes, sanitizing wipes, and we have launched body mist. So we've launched several products in last few quarters, and some of them are really building up well for us.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, sir. All the best, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. We have the next question from the line of Malini Gupta from Ashika Stock Broking. Please go ahead.
Good evening, sir. Sir, I had one question on the raw material. In the last conference call, you had said that basically all raw material increases, etc., are passed on immediately in the margarine brand. So, and you are having a problem in passing on milk price increases. And this year, in this quarter, you're saying just the opposite. So, what has changed between last quarter and this quarter?
So let me explain. First of all, I think milk prices harder to pass on because Complan prices are stable, and for almost 3 years we maintained the same prices, same Complan prices, despite the fact that milk prices have strengthened over the years. We believe as the equity of Complan is getting stronger, we will have better pricing power. But having said that, the swings are not substantial. So even if, in what we've seen over the last 2 to 3 years, and swings are not so substantial. So when Dr. Shabal mentioned that milk or Complan we can still handle. On the other side, when we look at palm oil, normally in last 4 to 5 years, we have a clear strategy. We wait for some time. If the prices go up and are not coming down, we pass on. And if required, if they come down, we are also able to take it back. And this has largely got to do with the institutional segment, the food service part of the Nutralite. Now, this time, there has been a very disproportionate increase in RPO, which is beyond, I think, we have not seen those kind of increases, at least in a decade, and I don't have beyond that data. And while we have taken substantial price increases on that particular thing, we have not been able to pass it on completely. And that's something which is bothering us, and that's the reflection of our view. We were expecting it to cool down, but if you see a commodity cycle, the way it is shaping up, all oils are moving up. So at some point in time, either we will have to continue taking prices up, or something has to give in, and that's the reflection of the concern what Dr. Shabal, when he was explaining the concern on palm oil. At a fundamental level, nothing has changed. Our pricing power in Nutralite remains strong. We are usually able to pass on, but this is something we have not seen in a decade at least, if not longer.
And sir, if you could just explain whether the milk prices, whether they have come down or they are on a YOY level and QOQ level, whether they are the same. If you could just talk about the milk prices.
Sure. I'll give you just a quick high level, and more details we can pick it up on a separate meeting. But on a YOY level, post 2018, we've seen milk prices getting stronger, and therefore their prices have gone up on a YOY level. And therefore, I expect on YOY level this year to be almost in line with last year, but they are substantially higher if I look at 3-year, 4-year CAGRs. On the quarter-on-quarter level, there are swings, but they are not comparable because we try to, as a practice, increase our purchase of milk and convert into SMP when the prices are lower. Sometimes we may not get it right, but more often than not, we are able to handle it. And that's why it may not be, so clearly comparable. But annual level this year and last year will be reasonably similar. A difference of about 1.5 rupees per liter of milk.
And sir, what did you mean when you said RPO? RPO is what?
Refined palm oil.
Sorry?
Refined palm oil that we use for Nutralite.
Okay. Yes, sir. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, to ask a question, you may enter star and one. Participants, if you have a question, you may enter star and one. To ask a question, you may enter star and one. Ladies and
I think
gentlemen, yes,
I
sir.
think there are no more questions. We can just find it up.
Sure, sir. Would you like to make any closing comments?
I'll hand over to Mr. Tarun Arora to make closing comments.
Sure. Thank you everyone for all the questions and interest in our business. We remain quite positive on our demand for our business and stay focused on delivering better results in the following quarters. All the best and see you next quarter.
Thank you, gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Zydus Wellness Limited, that concludes this conference call. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines. Thank you.